and welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to show you how I created a Sonic the Hedgehog jacket. For this jacket I did not use a pattern at all, I just cut it out on the fly. I used fleece fabric for this jacket. To make the back and the front of the jacket, I folded it in half and I cut a shirt shape out. And I cut one piece for the back and two pieces for the front. Fleece does not fray, so I did not have to finish the edges on it. However, I wanted the cleaner look and went ahead and cut up strips of the fleece to make kind of like bias tape. And I cut one the length of the front of the jacket and to wrap around the bottom of the jacket. And now I'm cutting out two sleeves. And I do cut strips of fabric to finish off the edges later. And since Sonic has these spikes on the back of his head, I'm simulating that by cutting 3 spike shapes. And I'm also cutting 2 sets of the blue fleece for his ears. For the front, I actually changed my design. It was not going to be solid blue. Sonic has this beige patch of fur on his belly. So here I'm actually creating the belly fur. And also for the inside of the ears, I create a smaller triangle shape. And here I'm just drawing. To be able to attach those 3 spikes at the back, I have to have a seam down the back, middle of the hood. And to attach the ears, I have to have a seam on the side of the hood. Sonic wears white gloves. So at the end of the sleeves, I'm going to finish the edging off with some white fleece. And this is the image I'm going to use to create appliques to make his face. I cut the mouth portion off and I put it on some beige fleece and cut the same shape out of that. To create the ears, I take 1 set of the navy blue and 1 of the beige fleece, and I attach the beige to 1 part of the navy blue. And I use a zigzag stitch to do this with. With the beige piece on, I go ahead and sandwich that beige part in between the two navy parts and go ahead and sew that up. I do leave the bottom of the ear open so that way I can flip it right side out. And then I set those aside. For the front of the jacket, I go ahead and attach the beige belly part onto the navy blue. And for some reason I am missing the footage of this. I blame Eggman for this. But I attach the shoulder seams of the back and the front together. With the shoulder seams connected, I go ahead and fan it out so that way I can attach the sleeves. And then I go ahead and sew the sleeves on. And once the sleeves are on, I go ahead and fold them and put them right sides to right sides, and I go ahead and make a stitch all the way from the wrist of the jacket all the way to the armpit and then down to the bottom of the jacket, so I close off the side seams. For the cuffs on the wrists of the jacket, I go ahead and take my white fleece. I sew a stitch to close it off so it's a one solid loop, and then I sew it onto the edge of the sleeve. And with that sewn on, I go ahead and I fold the white bit in half and sew that back onto the seam allowance I left, so it finishes up the edges of my jacket. And I do use my serger to go ahead and secure that seam together and to clean up the jagged edges. And to clean up the front edges also, I do create that band to added the beige and the navy blue to match the belly portion and the actual jacket portion, and did the same exact thing that I did with the sleeves to that front bit as well. I apparently forgot to hit record on my camera when I did this. And here I'm just attaching the band to the bottom of the jacket to clean up the edges on that as well. I guess this is where I actually sew the ears. And to create a curved effect, I go ahead and fold them in half and I sew a dart down the middle. Now these ears are going to be attached to the seam that I cut in the middle of the hood. And for those 3 spiky bits, I do cut some interfacing so that it gives it a little bit of stiffness so it does kind of stick out a little bit more. And I sew that in between 2 layers of the fleece. And for these to lay as flat as possible, I go ahead and clip the seam allowance on the point and clip into the seam allowance on the curves. And then I flip them right sides out. And then I go ahead and I attach them to the curvy part, so the back of the head of the hood. And then once the ears and the spikes are on, I go ahead and attach the other side of the hood and sew it all up. To finish the actual full size of the hood, I go ahead and take the front band of the hood piece and sew the middle seam, and then I do attach it to the back of the hood where the ears are. And then again, to finish off the jagged edge of the hood, I go ahead and create a band or bias tape, and I attach it to the front part just like I did to the rest of the jacket. And that creates the hood. And with that done, I go ahead and attach it to the neckline of the jacket. Now for the face. I go ahead and actually cut out another part of the mouth because I'm going to cut some interfacing out and sandwich that interfacing in between those so it gets it more stability. And I just use a zigzag stitch for this, and then I cut off the excess seam allowance. To create the mouth, I just went and bought some black embroidery thread and just embroidered the line for the mouth. And then again, I just used my pattern that I drew out to create the nose shape, the eye shape, the iris, everything. I just cut out each piece by piece. And I use felt to create each piece. And I used a whip stitch just to attach everything to each piece. With the eyes and the mouth done, I go ahead and grab my jacket again and align them up to where they need to be on the jacket, and then whip stitch them into place with black thread. And with that, the jacket is done. I made a jacket similar to this, except it was a Toothless inspired jacket. I will leave a link below and have that in the iCard if you want to take a look at that. Except this one doesn't have any closures on it. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next week. Bye.